Okay.
Okay. Kung Pao Chicken. It's a bit of a wok week this week because yesterday I made Singapore noodles. On Wednesday we're going to have chicken chow mein, all of which I will share with you. But for now we're going to have Kung Pao Chicken. So I am heating my wok. If you haven't got a wok, use just a wide frying pan. This is my chicken, which is going to go in. Oh. I want to brown that. Now chicken, obviously, let's just get everything in. Chicken is full of germs apparently, so even after I've touched chicken like that, I'm washing my hands. You have to be safe. I've just washed my hands. Now I'm drying my hands. I applied some new nail varnish today. Not sure about the colour, but my daughter loves it. She's 19, I'm 58. And apparently this is a trendy colour. So, chicken's in. I'm going to brown the chicken all over. And then I'll talk you through the other ingredients that are going in. Obviously, Kung Pao is just a fantastic recipe. It's gorgeous with prawns. We're having chicken tonight. Just a note on chicken. Okay, to buy, I've got 400 grams of chicken in here, chicken breast. To buy that would probably cost £4 or £5. I bought a whole chicken for a silly amount of money, for £3.95, which I was able to take the legs off, the wings, and cut the breasts off. And I would urge all of you to start to learn how to joint a chicken. And then I was able to use the carcass to make stock. So you want to keep the heat on high. I don't have a flashy wok ring on my very paltry 4-ring hob, but it works. I want people who just live in a normal house and have a normal life to be able to cook. So, we've also got, this is, I've done, in the recipe I say to use 2 peppers. Oh, should I stand like this? No, like this? Higher? Lower? In the recipe I say to use 2 peppers. I've used 2 different coloured peppers. I had a yellow pepper in the fridge as well as red pepper, but you could use red and green. I'm also putting celery in mine. If you don't like celery, leave it out. I know it's one of those funny things. There's quite a few people that don't like celery. I've also got my garlic and ginger ready. The secret with dishes like this is to have everything prepped before you cook it so that it's just an assembly job. So in here is my ginger and garlic. I've got my very finely shredded chilli. We are the chilli house. I have put in the recipe. Let me just look at what I put in my recipe. I think I put in my recipe 1 chilli, but we're hardcore here, and we're having 2 bird eye chilies with the seeds. Actually, I just want to show you this. Oh, before I show you this, I'm just going to. Lovely, it's browning. That's so nice. That's what we want. Bit of colour on my chicken. There we go, look, just a nice bit of light browning. I was freezing cold earlier, but I'm really hot now, so I'm so happy that I put a scarf and a sweater on. The reason that if you haven't got a wok, I want you to use a really wide frying pan is you don't want to poach. You want the heat high and you want this to get some colour. Lovely. Now, I was about to go on to something else, but I'm going to save that little tidbit for when the chicken is cooking. So next, I'm actually going to put in, this is my garlic and ginger. So I'm going to put this in, and the chilli. And I'll talk about my separate chilli board in a minute. Give it a good stir, give it a good fry in that lovely heat. Next I'm going to put in my vegetables, which is the celery and the peppers. Oh, I love that. Oh, I wish you could smell it. This is like authentic. Let's just leave that for a second. The sauce. So this is on the recipe. So the sauce is soy sauce, honey, tomato puree. There's 240 ml of stock in there. I use chicken stock and some hoisin sauce. But I've also mixed it. I took 4 tablespoons out and I mixed it with some 2 tablespoons of cornstarch or corn flour. I'm just going to give this a little stir, if I can hear it, lovely. And I mixed it until the corn flour was completely mixed in, and now I'm going to pour this in. Lovely. There we go. Now I will use my spoon. Oh, it's not my sweater, I hope. And I'm going to let this come up to, it's gone very quiet, is it still lit? Yes. So I'll let this start bubbling and then I'll lower the heat, and basically you will just cook it until you know that your chicken and your vegetables are cooked. I like a bit of crunch and everything. So this will start bubbling in a minute. But while we're waiting for this, a couple of things to cover. I started talking about the ginger. Now, I don't buy many expensive fancy gadgets, but this I have had for years and I swear by it. It's a ginger grater. You would think, oh, who needs a ginger grater? If you cook a lot of Indian food, a lot of Asian food, anything that has a lot of ginger, it's wonderful because you take a piece of ginger and you grate it, but what you get, well, I've left this piece of ginger out all day, so it's kind of dried up. But what you get is no waste. So as you're grating it, I mean, it's hard work, it's not easy, but you get all the juices. Look, if you can see, you get all the, and all of that. I might as well stick that in. No waste. But it's one of those silly little things that I would say is worth buying. There's a lot of gadgets out there I'd say don't buy, but that one is. So I was going to talk about the board. I actually have in my kitchen a separate board that I use for chopping chilli, only because it seems to just, as you know, travel everywhere. And if I've touched a chilli, I always wash my hands. So this is my chilli chopping board. It will get washed, but it won't ever be used for anything other than chopping chilli. I also have here, this is the board that I only ever use for chicken. Okay, so now it's come up to a boil. You can see it's thickening up. The sauce has gone lovely and dark. I'm going to drop the heat down, and now it's okay to let the chicken poach. Oh God, that smells so good. And it looks so fresh. It looks so much nicer than I don't want to knock the takeaways. They're lovely, but there's no MSG in this. And it smells good. Now, the one last thing that I want to add about this is one of the children doesn't like nuts with their food. So I do say in the recipe to put in nuts, but I've roasted my nuts separately so that we can all add them separately. But ideally you would put the nuts in with that, but serve them on the side. Do what you want. Feed your family the way they like. I'll put a photo of this when it's done.